Good morning, I'm Javier.
And I'm Gretchen.
And this is Good Mornings with Sleepwell. And we have been gone a lot the past 2 weeks. We've been in, we've been in Carlsbad. I was in Carlsbad last week, 2 days. And then you were in Carlsbad 1 day. And then just past Monday and Tuesday, we were in Carlsbad again. We're really starting to see movement in our Carlsbad store. We actually have a brand new sign, really pretty one.
Which is very nice to have signage. Of course, people have heard of us over there, and we have people that are coming in. It's not like it's slowed down traffic too much.
No, what it was we had banners on the windows, and I mean, nice little signage banners that were nice, and they had our logo and they had our offers and everything like that. But now we have this great big 2-story tall banner that's just, well, not banner, but it's a big sign that's right outside the store.
And then one under that's another sign that explains what the store is, which I think will help as well.
Yep. And next we'll be seeing a banner on the side of the building, and just other stuff that we're doing to give a facelift on that building, because I mean, our Carlsbad building is kind of an old building. I believe it's like 80 years old, but it sits right on the corner of Canal and Mermod, so you can't really miss it. So the location is gold. It's just that the building could use a little bit of love, and that's what we're doing, is we're reinvesting our dollars into putting some love into that building. I know that one of Gretchen's ideas was a child play area. You want to talk about that a little bit, because that was a good idea.
I think that whenever children come in with their parents, there's a certain age in the young toddler where they can be on their own, but not on their own. So when they're around the ages of like 5 to 8, they're in that stage where they're just busy. And it's really distracting sometimes for the parents to be able to go lay down on a mattress, really look around without being constantly distracted. So I came up with the idea that we should have like a little play corner for the kids, maybe like miniature tables they can color, maybe have a little TV playing with some kid movies. I know the doctor's office, those wooden cubes that have activities on all the sides, just things like that, I think would be beneficial.
And for me, it's just, it is easier to be able to spend time with the parents talking about their sleep and everything, and have them be able to concentrate on themselves and have the kids be able to play off to the side. I think that's a much better idea than trying to have the parents split their attention, because we have had issues where the parent is trying to learn about their sleep and trying to make themselves better in that aspect of their life, and the child is kind of distracting, which, don't get us wrong, we love kids, we have kids, but there is a time where the parent kind of needs to think for themselves for a little bit, and I want to provide that environment in our stores. And then other big stuff that's been going on, we've been talking to apartment buildings in Carlsbad. We've been talking to realtors. I think that we're doing the right stuff over there to let people know that we're there, to let them know that we're there to help. And I think it's starting to show. It really is. And then here in Alamo, we've got some big stuff brewing in Alamo that I don't think we're ready to talk about. What do you think? Not yet. All right. She's got her fingers crossed on this big thing that we're doing. I have my fingers crossed. I think we're controlling the situation pretty well. Probably within the next 2 weeks, we'll let you guys know, and we'll keep you advised of what that big news is. I think Alamogordo will be pleasantly surprised as to what we're doing for Alamogordo. So we're looking forward to that. What else do we have? Anything new?
School started. Woo woo.
I'm excited about it because it gets, we're in the house. We're like, it's quiet. It's like nice. Whatever. Anyways.
Well, more so, the kids are back into their ritual of seeing their friends, getting to obviously learn and do schoolwork and stuff, but they're back into their rituals of having structured activity, that is, throughout the day.
Yep. And I recently wrote a blog on children's sleep habits, child sleep habits, and then also child sleep deprivation. And I think it's a topic that a lot of parents really don't know that much about. I know you are learning a lot from all these blogs and everything that we're reading. What do you get from it?
Well, it seems like the more I read about it, the more I actually related to how I felt going through high school. That's when I really noticed it. I would put a lot of energy into memorizing music because I was in band, I was in choir, And besides that, I mean, the rest of it was more along the lines of I was really active in our church youth group. So either I was at school and yeah, I was learning and stuff, but I dominated my time with mainly music and then going to church and running all the activities there. But the sleep deprivation never ever was something I thought about on why I would have really slow days. Especially during midterms or finals weeks. Oh my gosh, those were the worst.
And what science is showing is that with a child, their sleep deprivation can seriously hurt their grades. It'll hurt memory retention. It'll hurt reading skill. It'll hurt math skill, and it's kind of scary the amount of difference that a couple of hours of sleep can make. I know that we have, with Gretchen's daughter Lilli, we can see some, when she misses out on a couple hours of sleep in a couple of nights, you can actually see a behavioral difference. I see where she can't concentrate on stuff. What are we doing to help her? Can you let them know a little bit about that?
In the evening times when it's time to go to bed, we like to have a bedtime and then give her 30 minutes of unwind time, because even we're like that. When we go to bed, we have to read or do something to just unwind once we get into bed. That preps you for falling into sleep. And for her, I think it's been beneficial too, because now she's learning to read more. Her tablet obviously has Wi-Fi as well as a TV, and this one here has this smart little application on his phone that controls the Wi-Fi, so he can go in and he can actually set who's allowed to have Wi-Fi and who's not, and on what. So he will disconnect her tablet and the TV in her room, so in the evening times all she can do is read. I mean, there isn't anything else. Which has multiple good things about it. Obviously, like I had mentioned, it's getting her into reading. Another thing is it's keeping her brain away from the blue light situation that is so prominent now. Blue light actually activates the brain. So it's really important that you remove yourself from TV and anything that has blue lights on it. What is it, an hour prior to bed? An hour prior to bed.
What happens is it messes up your circadian rhythm. Blue light from your phones, from your TV screen, from your, any kind of screen whatsoever, it has blue light on it. And as far as like the shutting down the internet, any router nowadays has an app that goes to it, and you can do that on your, you can guard it on your phone and shut it down at any time. I know she thinks it's a joke, but honestly, if you give the child the structure, you actually will have better results. Because, any kid's going to want to play games until the wee hours of the morning. That's just the way they are. But if you shut it down and you give structure, the child will go to sleep at a set time.
Now, I don't think it's funny. I don't want to, display that part of it. But I do want to say, when he first started doing it, I was like, wow, that's like really taking control of it. And then when I thought about it, I went, wow, that's really taking control of it. That's what we should be doing. So I think when it comes to our kids, we need to start parenting in these situations and speaking and communicating in conversation. How are you feeling today? At the end of the day, how was your day? And really start asking questions that will give you the information you need to know. Are they moodier right now? Are they getting enough sleep? Are they recovering from the sports they're playing? Are they less focused whenever I tell them something? Do I have to tell them 2 or 3 times instead of one? Which my kids were born that way, but that's just another thing.
She brought up an interesting point, and that is something that I didn't write about, but it is something that I saw on the research, and that's a conversation after school about asking them how their day went. And during the research, they talk about asking the child, how was your day, what went on, and they'll tell you a little bit about it, but they'll say, oh, well, I fell asleep during math class. And then you ask, well, why did you fall asleep during math class? Well, the teacher was boring. Well, honestly, what happens at that point is it really is a sign of sleep deprivation. And you'd be surprised. We think that our kids are sleeping just fine, but they really aren't. There's things that are distracting them. There's things that are keeping them awake. There's the point where they think that they can stay up till 10 or 11 o'clock at night, and they really can't because they're waking up so early. what is it that I think a child that's in grade school needs something like 9 hours of sleep, and we're probably providing 7. So it's really a shame that we're doing this to our children, and I think that it's super easy to fix. So I mean, we just need to take control of it.
Mm-hmm. Another thing is whenever we quote hours based off of studies on how much sleep they have, you really can pay attention to your own child and what their needs are, because there will be people that don't require as much.
Yep.
They go to bed and they wake up fully refreshed and fully energized and do just fine. Then you have people that require, let's say, 10 hours. I remember my brother and sister being able to sleep into almost noon on the weekend. So it's just a matter of following what your body needs and really paying attention to that and zone in, because if you have a child that requires more sleep, you need to consider that every day of the week, not just weekends.
That's a really good segue into the fact that bedtimes should be kept throughout the weekend too. Mm-hmm. It really is. Right. Because you can't form a habit without it being a habit all the time.
Exactly.
And don't get me wrong, I think that letting a child sleep in on the weekends is a good idea, but letting them stay up late, I don't think that's a really good idea. The occasional sleepover, don't get me wrong, everybody deserves a sleepover. All that social time is necessary, but a set bedtime for the child is pretty necessary, especially at a developing age. Mm-hmm.
And considering too, factoring in what is it they're doing throughout the week. Are they just attending school? And I don't say just, but are they attending school with sports? Do they do work, like a job after school? Mm-hmm. What is it that's taking their mind? Because you can have mental drain and you can have physical drain, and sometimes you can have both. And I think that compounds the sleep issue even more. So it's very important to follow the information that's being presented. Mm-hmm.
So now all this is bad news, but let's talk about the good part of this, and that when your child does get enough sleep, you will notice almost an immediate difference, right?
Yes, absolutely. I know I do with my daughter. Mm-hmm. I'll just keep using her as an example because
it's a really good example, because I mean, I see it immediately. I really do.
Yep. Mm-hmm. You know, being a divorced couple, it kind of gives you the way of relating. A child has to adapt in each household. So each household is going to provide different rules, different schedules, different lifestyles, whatever it is. So you're going to have to consider the fact that when a child comes to your house, it may take them a day or two to get back into the mode
to
of
adjust,
things.
right?
Yes. But as far as your sleep schedules, if you keep your sleep schedule set, if they start feeling better, most likely they're going to want to keep that. If not, when you remind them as they age and mature enough to take some self-responsibility, it will start sinking in at that point as well.
And I think that we see it right off the bat. Within the first 2 days of Lilli being at the house, we make sure that she sleeps at least 8 to 9 hours a night. And we see an excitement level, of course, because she's back. You know, she's seeing her mom and she's over there. There's an excitement level there, but at the same time there's an attention deficit that we see immediately. But then during the changeover of the first 2 days, there is a definite improvement in her attention to stuff. Even her clumsiness, because it can cause clumsiness because your brain's not reacting fast enough. Her clumsiness goes away. I see it a lot. And don't get me wrong, she's a great kid, but I love studying stuff, so I see her behavior and mannerisms, and I'm like, interesting. So yeah, but that's just the person I am. I always did it with my kids. So yeah, it's really interesting to see the changes in her behavior, like almost instant. It's so neat. Sleep is so interesting. Sleep is so necessary, and we we don't think it's important at all, and it really is.
I noticed another thing too in her. She responds better whenever she has been there a couple days. I know some of that's adjustment period again, but her sleeping pattern when she's there does influence the fact that she can focus better the next day. Right. If we have her doing chores and stuff, she's a wonderful personality. She's a pleaser. So she wants to do things right. She wants to be able to be relied on. She wants to be trusted, and she also wants to be played with, and, every child. But when it comes to her getting enough sleep, she's not so needy. Her need for constant talk, constant conversation, constant question answering, it's almost like anxiety. All of that stuff just settles. It calms her. So, I mean, there's just a whole bunch of things.
And that is something that parents really don't get also is excitability. Where as adults we get tired when we're sleepy, children actually get excitable when they're sleepy. They're
Drunk.
Right. Yeah, it's like it is. It's their brain will lose focus and they fight it by getting excitable, by getting very distracted and irritable, and all these things are actually signs that your child may need some more sleep.
That reminds me of a baby, like right before they go to bed,
Yep.
they usually have that cry fit. It's almost like their last surge of energy and they give it all they got all at once.
Yep.
You know? And children, they respond the same way whenever they don't have enough sleep. They will tell you they're not tired. They will fight it by asking questions, can't focus, so they go from one thing to the next to the
Right.
next. You'll see more messes. Just everything presents itself so clearly.
Delaying bedtime as much as humanly possible. Yeah. Yep. And I mean, it's all part of the parenting, like you said. We all need to start taking a little bit more responsibility for child sleep. We really do. We really do. Well, that has been an episode of Good Mornings with Sleep Well, and like we said, we have some big news, and hopefully we have a meeting this Friday for our big news, and then hopefully maybe next week or the week after we'll be able to announce that. Another thing that I'm surprising her with is right now we record Good Mornings with Sleep Well, and I really think that we're both feeling comfortable enough to start doing this on Facebook Live. So I think we're going to be conversing about that, and hopefully someday within the next couple of weeks you'll see us live instead of recorded, and you'll be able to see the goofiness behind the camera because she's quite goofy and I'm quite serious. So anyways, thank you for watching Good Mornings with Sleep Well, and remember, when you sleep well,
You live well.
have a great day.
Bye-bye.
Bye.